I trusted my brother to look after my mansion while I was abroad, but he filmed adult movies there. Hi Reddit, I'm 35 years old, a guy from the suburbs of Boston, Massachusetts, working in IT consulting, earning decently about 200,000 a year, and I have a large mansion that I bought 5 years ago after a few successful projects. The house is my pride, 4 bedrooms, a pool in the yard, a home theater, a wine cellar, all on half an acre of land in a quiet neighborhood with nice neighbors. I'm a bachelor, no kids, love traveling, play golf, collect vintage wines, and life was perfect until this nightmare. Names changed, details a bit blurred to avoid problems, but all true. My brother, let's call him Tim, is 3 years younger than me. He's 32. He's always been the problem child in the family. Didn't finish college, gets by with odd jobs, sometimes as a bartender, sometimes as a manager in some shady business, lives with his girlfriend in a cramped apartment in downtown Boston, constantly complains about lack of money, but doesn't change anything. Parents always spoiled him. Mom thinks he's a creative genius who just hasn't found himself. Dad just ignores his failures and gives money for startup ideas that always fail. I've always helped him, lent money for a car, paid for courses, even got him a temporary job at my firm, but he screwed it all up because he didn't show up on time or argued with colleagues. We weren't super close, but I thought I could trust him, after all, brother, blood relative. 6 months ago, I was offered a big project in Europe, a 3-month assignment in London and Berlin with the possibility of extension, a chance for promotion, and a 50,000 bonus. I agreed because it was a dream, work plus travel. Before leaving, I asked Tim to look after the house, water the plants, check the mail, mow the lawn, nothing complicated. Gave him the keys, showed him the security system with cameras and alarm, even paid $500 up front for the trouble. He was happy, said everything would be okay, and wished me a good trip. I flew out, and the first week seemed normal. He sent photos of the lawn, wrote that it was quiet and peaceful. I checked the cameras remotely, but not every day, because work took all my time and didn't notice anything suspicious. I returned 2 weeks ago, earlier than planned, because the project ended successfully. Arrived in the evening, opened the door, and almost fell over. The house looked like after an apocalypse, furniture rearranged, sticky stains on the floor, marks from tripods and lamps in the bedroom, empty alcohol bottles in the kitchen, condom wrappers, and even forgotten adult toys. The pool was dirty, with trash, a camera on a tripod, and lingerie left in the theater. I thought it was a robbery or a wild party, but checked the cameras and was stunned. Over the months of my absence, dozens of people came to the house, men, women, operators with equipment, and they were filming adult movies. Around the clock, scenes by the pool during the day, in the bedrooms in the evening, in the garage at night. On the neighbors' recordings that I requested, you can see vans with equipment, people in robes, loud music. My mansion was turned into a studio for adult content. I immediately called Tim, yelled what the hell this was, and he first denied it, but when I mentioned the cameras, he confessed. He was renting the house for film shoots. They paid $10,000 a month, and he thought I wouldn't find out. It turned out he found an ad on Craigslist for rent for independent cinema, but quickly realized it was adult films and still agreed, made a bunch of money, but spent it all. They filmed at least 7 movies, damaged furniture, broke the shower, stole a couple of bottles of wine from the cellar. Damages, at least 15,000 plus the moral shock. My home, where I relax, became sets for that. In a rage, I gathered evidence and went to a lawyer. He said it's trespassing, property damage, possible zoning violation, because commercial activity is prohibited in a residential area. Advised to file with the police in a civil lawsuit. But then it started, relatives begging not to ruin Tim's life, mom crying that he'll go to jail, dad promising to pay for everything, aunts accusing me of selfishness. Tim himself calls and apologizes, says he'll pay back the money, but I don't believe him. Neighbors complaining about noise, HOA threatening a fine. I'm hesitating, file a report or forgive for the family's sake. Need advice because this is destroying me. Update 1, a week after the original post. Hi Reddit, thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. Your advice to consult a lawyer, document all evidence, and not give in to family manipulations really helped me not go crazy these days. Many of you wrote that this is a classic family drama where blood justifies any antics, and you were right. The situation escalated so much that now I feel like I'm in the center of some thriller. Over this past week since my first post, so much has happened that I'm barely keeping up with events, from my brother's confession to a real family war and problems with neighbors who now gossip about my house as a brothel. I'm writing this update late at night because I can't sleep, constantly reviewing cameras, checking doors, and thinking how this could happen with my own brother. This will be long because there are a ton of details, emotions, and new discoveries, and I want to lay it all out to sort it out in my head and maybe get more advice from you. If you're in a similar situation, hang in there, it's awful, but your comments give strength. First, about the meeting with Tim, after your post, I couldn't stand it and called him to arrange a face-to-face talk. We met in a neutral place, a cafe in downtown Boston, because I didn't want to let him back into the house after all that crap he did there. He arrived 20 minutes late, looked pitiful, unshaven, in an old sweater with stains, red eyes, like he hadn't slept for a couple of days or was hungover. Started right away with apologies, like, bro, I screwed up big time, didn't know it would go this far. I didn't let him wiggle out and immediately showed him a flash drive with camera recordings. It clearly shows vans with equipment arriving, people in robes and underwear running around the yard, operators setting up tripods in my bedroom, and some hot scenes being filmed in the pool with a bunch of actors. He first tried to lie. It was independent cinema. They said it was artistic. I didn't know it was adult films. But when I pressed and said I have messages from him where he writes to me, everything's quiet, no one bothering, and in parallel in chats with the producer discusses hot shots and bonuses for extra locations, he broke and spilled everything. He confessed that he found an ad on Craigslist for rental for independent film shoots, but already at the first meeting with the producer, some guy named Mark from Lowe's Angels, with tattoos and a gold chain, realized it was adult content. They straight up said they were looking for luxury houses for erotic scenes. Tim agreed because they offered $12,000 a month in cash, plus bonuses for extra amenities like the pool or wine cellar. They filmed some vintage scene there, and that's why 2 bottles of my collectible wine at $300 each disappeared. He rented the house for the full 3 months of my assignment, earned a total of $36,000 but spent it all. Part on casino debts, turns out he has an addiction I didn't know about, part on gifts for his girlfriend, new bag, trip to New York, and the rest just partied away. Said he thought you wouldn't find out since you're in Europe and I'd clean everything up. But he didn't clean, left trash, damaged the parquet with tripods, deep scratches on the oak floor, repair estimated at $3,000, broke the sofa mechanism in the living room. They filmed group scenes there and the springs couldn't handle it, and mold in the bathroom from water because they didn't wipe after shower shots. Plus, they stole small things, my coffee maker, $500, a couple of towels, and even a bottle of champagne from the fridge. Total damages, according to the expert I called, $18,000, not counting moral. I was shocked by the details. He told me they filmed 7 full-length movies, 2-3 days each, with actors from California who flew in specially. There were themed scenes, in the pool, summer vacation, in the bedroom, romance in the mansion, in the garage, role-playing with cars. Neighbors complained to him about the noise, but he said it's cinema, it'll end soon. I asked why he didn't tell me, and he, afraid you'd get mad and not give the keys. Promised to pay back the money, showed his bank account, only $200 left, the rest invested in some business idea with crypto that failed. I left the cafe in a rage, said I'm thinking about the police, and he cried, "Don't do it, bro, I'll go to jail, mom will die of grief." But the real war started with the relatives. Tim, of course, immediately told everything to mom, and she called me that same night, sobbing into the phone. "How can you do this to your brother? He's not a thief, he just wanted to earn. You know how hard it is for him, and you sit in your luxury house and judge." She tried to manipulate. "Remember how you played together as kids? He always protected you. Don't ruin his life. Forgive. We'll pay for the repairs." Dad called the next day more calmly, but with pressure. "Son, family above all. Tim is wrong, but police is for strangers. We'll give $10,000 for everything. Take back the keys and forget." Aunt Mom's sister wrote in the family chat where all relatives are. "He's selfish, thinks only about money, and Tim is in trouble because of the economy." Even my cousin, whom I haven't spoken to in years, called and said, "Don't be a jerk, forgive, otherwise you'll lose the family." They all beg not to ruin Tim's life. Mom says he might fall into depression and do something to himself. Dad promises to help with business for Tim if you stay silent. This presses emotionally. I feel like a traitor because I love the family, but this isn't a mistake. It's a crime. My home was desecrated, and I can't just forgive. Alex, my boyfriend with whom we live, supports me. They always covered for Tim, that's why he doesn't change. File the report, otherwise he'll do worse. But even he hesitates because relatives called him. "Convince him or you'll break up over this." We argue about it. I want to go to the police. He says maybe take the money and forget. I started going to a therapist, $150 per session, because I don't sleep, constantly think about it, and the therapist says, "This is guilt-tripping manipulation, stand your ground." Now about the neighbors, this has become a new headache. One neighbor, retiree Mr. Smith, who has cameras all over his yard, saw my recordings I showed him because I asked for his videos and realized it was adult films. Now he's gossiping all over the neighborhood. "Your house became a set for dirty movies. We saw naked people by the pool at 3 in the morning. Another neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, called and said, "We thought you were in Europe and hear orgies. Kids in the neighborhood, how to explain this?" HOA Homeowners Association sent an official letter. Fine $1,000 for disturbing the peace and commercial activity in a residential zone, plus warning that if it repeats, they'll expel from the association and sue. I explained to them that it was without my knowledge showed evidence, but they demand official investigation and want me to pay for psychological help for neighbors who are traumatized by the noise. One neighbor even threatened to sue me for violating the moral norms of the neighborhood. This hit my reputation. Now people look at me sideways on the street, and my golf club, where I play weekly, heard the rumors and recommended taking a pause. Financially, it's pressing too. Damage assessment rose to $22,000, added mold in the bathroom from water during shoots. Insurance covers only $5,000 because commercial activity not included. Lawyer already took $1,500 for consultations and lawsuit preparation. Tim promises to pay back $36,000, but gradually sent $500 to start, but I don't believe there'll be more. Emotionally, I'm on the edge. Don't sleep. Constantly check doors and cameras, afraid Tim or those producers will return. Found one of the videos online, didn't watch, but description and screenshots match my pool and bedroom. Afraid someone will recognize the house and rumors will spread wider. Alex helps with repairs, already spent $2,000 on carpet cleaning and painting, but we argue because relatives pressure him too. Need advice? File with the police now or wait. How to deal with neighbors, gossip, and HOA. If anyone had similar with rentals or family betrayals, write. We'll update when there's progress. Thanks for the support. You're keeping me afloat. Update 2, a month after the first update. Hi Reddit, thanks for all the support in the original post and first update. Your comments about not backing down and protecting your property really pushed me to decisive actions. And now everything is moving, though with a ton of drama. Many advised going to the police, and I did, and that launched a chain of events, from my brother's arrest to full war with relatives, but also unexpected allies who helped me hold on. Over this month, the situation became even more intense. Legal steps, emotional explosions, new discoveries about Tim, and even positive changes in my life that I didn't expect. This update will be long because there are so many emotions, details, and twists, and I want to lay it all out to sort it and maybe get more advice. If you're in a similar family mess, hang in there, it's exhausting, but your messages give strength not to give up. First, about the decision to file a report. After the first update, I thought long about your comments. Many said that if not now, Tim will do something worse, and you were right. I gathered all evidence into one file. Recordings from my cameras show shoots, actors at work, equipment in bedrooms, videos from neighbors' vans with adult production logos, people in robes running around the yard at 3 in the morning, photos of damages, scratched parquet from tripods, broken sofa with dents, mold in the bathroom from water during shower scenes, missing wines from the cellar, messages from Tim, shoots going hot, money dripping, no one complaining. And even screenshots from adult film sites. I found 3 videos where my pool, bedroom, and garage are clearly visible. Didn't watch, but descriptions and frames match. Damage assessment rose to $22,000, added pool repair because water with chemicals damaged filters. Lawyer property law specialist, already spent $2,000 on him, drafted the report. Trespassing, unauthorized access for commercial purposes, property damage, unauthorized commercial use, zoning violation, because can't film commercial adult movies in residential area without permits, and even possible theft for wines and small things. We went to the police in Boston. Detective, experienced guy about 50, took the case right away. This isn't a family quarrel, it's a crime, evidence is strong, we'll handle it. They questioned Tim the next day, he first denied, but when shown recordings, confessed to the rental, but said didn't know it was adult films, thought art cinema. Detective didn't buy it, because in messages, Tim writes about hot actresses and bonuses for extra scenes. 3 days later, Tim was arrested for misdemeanor trespassing and damage, held for a day, released on $5,000 bail, parents paid, because he has nothing. Case going to court, preliminary hearing in a month, possible imprisonment up to a year or probation, plus fines. Relatives just exploded, this became a real war. Mom called right after the arrest, sobbing and screaming, "You're a monster, your brother in jail because of you, how could you? We raised you to love family and you betrayed." She tried to manipulate everything. Remember how Tim protected you from bullies in school, and now you're trampling him for some furniture. Dad was colder but pressed. Take back the report, we'll pay everything, $25,000 for repairs and your moral damages. Police will ruin his life, he won't find a job with a record. Aunt, mom's sister, created a separate family chat without me and writes gossip there. He's greedy, thinks only about his mansion, and Tim just erred in hardship. Cousin called and said, "You're a jerk because of you, mom in hospital with blood pressure. If something happens, it's on your conscience." Even grandma, dad's mom, 85 years, called back. "Forgive, family is sacred, don't turn in blood." They announced a boycott, don't invite to family holidays. Mom says you're no longer a son until you fix it. Dad blocks my calls. Aunt spread rumors among distant relatives. He turned his brother in to police for money. This presses emotionally. I love my parents, but they cover for Tim as always, ignoring that he's a criminal. But unexpected allies appeared who saved me from total despair. Neighbor Mr. Smith, retiree with cameras, supported fully. I saw all that crap, kid noise at 3 in the morning, naked people in your yard, vans with adult equipment. I'll testify in court because it ruined the neighborhood's peace. He even gave his recordings to police and HOA to lift the fine from me. The association canceled the $1,000 after his letter, not the owner at fault, but his brother. Another neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, organized a petition from neighbors. We support you, don't let relatives manipulate. Even the producer, Mark from LA, I found his contacts through the Craigslist ad, replied to my email. Tim knew everything. He took 10% from each film, offered locations himself. I'll testify if needed, because he didn't pay us fully either. Police took his statements online, and that strengthened the case. Now Tim faces fraud too, because he promised clean shoots without problems. Financially pressing but holding on. Lawyer already $4,000, started repairs, spent $5,000 on parquet and furniture. Insurance covered $7,000, said vandalism. Tim sent $1,000 to start, but gives no more. Filed civil lawsuit for $50,000 damages plus moral harm. Judge scheduled mediation where Tim has to appear. Emotionally on the edge, don't sleep, constantly check doors, installed new locks and cameras for $1,000. Afraid Tim or relatives will come to talk. Alex helps, but we argue. He says maybe settle if they pay. I say no, it's principle. Therapist helps cope with guilt, says relatives manipulate, you're protecting yourself. Positive, work gave $50,000 bonus for Europe, so can cover expenses. Update 3, 3 months after the second update. Hi Reddit, thanks for all the support in previous posts and updates. Your comments about standing your ground and not giving in to guilt tripping from relatives really helped me get through all this. Many advised preparing for court and seeking allies, and you were right. It was a real battle, but now it's over. Over these 3 months, everything changed dramatically, from the court verdict and Tim's arrest to full break with relatives, but also unexpected positive twists that made me stronger. This update will be long because there are so many emotions, details, twists, and lessons, and I want to lay it all out to close this chapter and maybe help others in similar situations. If you're in a family war over betrayal, hang in there, it's exhausting, but the end is worth the effort. First, about mediation in court. After the second update, mediation was a week later, me with lawyer, $6,000 already spent on him, Tim with public defender because he has nothing, in a neutral office in Boston. Tim looked broken, lost weight with gray hair, cried, sorry bro, I'm an idiot, I'll pay everything. His lawyer offered settlement. Tim pays $15,000 at $500 a month, plus community service instead of court. But I refused, damages $22,000 plus moral shock, and I wanted justice. Mediation failed, case went to court. Hearing a month ago, my lawyer showed everything, cameras, photos, neighbors' testimonies. Mr. Smith testified. It was like a brothel, noise at night, naked people in the yard. Producer, online. Tim knew it was adult films, took percentages, offered garage for scenes himself. Police added, zoning violation and theft, whines. Tim tried to whine, I didn't know the scale, brother forgive. Judge, woman about 50, didn't buy it. You knowingly violated trust and property, caused damages to the neighborhood. Verdict, 1-year probation, $10,000 fine, 200 hours community service, park cleaning, restitution $22,000 to me, plus restraining order from my house. Tim appealed, but little chance, his lawyer says looks bad. Relatives declared full war. Mom after verdict called in hysterics, you're a killer. Tim a criminal because of you, how will you sleep? She manipulates. Remember childhood, he shared toys and you're trampling him. Dad coldly, we're cutting you from inheritance, don't call. Aunt spreads gossip, he's greedy, turned brother in for pennies. Cousins block, grandma doesn't answer. They boycott, don't invite to holidays. Mom says you're dead to us until you fix. Even for Christmas, recently sent gifts to Alex, but not me, with note for real family. It hurts, I love parents, but they cover for Tim as always, ignoring he's a criminal. But unexpected allies appeared, neighbors became friends. Mr. Smith invited to barbecue. Good job not giving up, neighborhood peaceful now. Mrs. Johnson organized fundraiser for my repairs, collected $2,000 from neighbors. HOA canceled all fines after court and even thanked for exposing violation. Producer Mark sent $1,000 for trouble and apologies. Tim screwed us on money too. Even cousin from dad's side, not close, called. Sorry, they always spoiled Tim, you're right, I'm on your side. Changes in life, repairs completed $15K, insurance plus neighbors covered, house like new, even updated pool. Work gave promotion after Europe, now $250,000, boss said you handled stress, deserve it. closer with Alex, married in small ceremony in park, $5,000, honeymoon in Europe, back to London but as tourist. Started therapy, $200 session, to cope with betrayal, therapist says break from toxic family is freedom. Tim writes from jail, he violated probation, didn't show for service, sat for a month, sorry, will pay everything, money coming 500 month. Emotionally hurts from family loss but peaceful, no drama, gossip, focus on future, planning kid, buying bigger house. This is the end, thanks Reddit, you helped. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new stories.